Yo, and we're recording now.
The fight between the best fighter in history versus Floyd Mayweather
Oh
interested
yeah,
everyone.
Deji is the best.
Therefore, let's analyze this unique event in more detail.
Facts, but
Exhibition fights.
let's evaluate.
In order to fully understand what's going on, we need to understand the essence of exhibition fights, because almost everyone does not understand what Mayweather really does.
Yup.
His exhibition fights should be divided into two categories: exhibition fights and Yakuza fights.
What's a
We're
Yakuza
interested
fight?
in the second type, so let's start with the first. Floyd's exhibition fights include a fight with McGregor, which Floyd managed to present as supposedly professional, a fight with Logan Paul, where Jake's older brother really wanted to defeat and knock out Floyd,
Yes.
and a fight against Don Moore.
Who is that?
Who is this? And I'll answer you exactly. So let's talk about the second type of fight.
That's kind of funny how like I just said who was that, and then they were like, "Yep, who was that?" They just know what I'm going to say. Also, if you're in the chat, say Floyd Mayweather is going to get knocked out by either Red Eye.
Why Yakuza fights? In order to understand, we need to go back to the 90s.
Or in the comments of the video that you're watching, but if you're not watching, then I love you still.
When the insane wrestler Nobuhiko Takada seriously thought that pro wrestling was a great base for fights without rules.
Yup.
Or, as we now say, MMA.
It's still real to me, damn it!
To prove his case, he challenged perhaps the greatest jiu-jitsu master, Rickson Gracie,
Oh, wow.
to a fight. A pride tournament was organized for such a super fight. Yeah.
Like pride, like gay people, or pride as in like just normal, I'm better than you. Because I don't know. This looks kind of old, so it's probably not. It's probably not actually caring about other people. It's just, I don't know. Companies are weird. If there was a company named Pride now, people would be going crazy.
Yes, that legendary Japanese promotion was created for this reason. After the apparent beatdown of Takada, the creators
Wow.
of Pride decided to continue to make such tournaments, which eventually resulted in the largest and most popular MMA league. Fedor Emelianenko, Rampage Jackson,
Who are these
Wanderlei
people?
Silva, Shogun Rua, Kazuki Sakuraba, and many others were the faces of the Japanese league.
I don't know those people.
But over time, fighters from UFC were added. Mark Coleman,
Oh.
Kevin Rendelman, Nick Diaz, and dozens of other
I know Nick
fighters,
Diaz.
each
Don't
of
play
which
now. I know
Pride
him.
dominated the mixed martial arts market until 2007.
Woo!
All the major stars and main fights took place there. But why then was Pride suddenly disappeared?
Yeah.
It turned out that the owners of the league had a close relationship with Yakuza.
Who?
And when the public learned about it, reputation of the league immediately was destroyed.
Wow.
All TV deals were
R.I.P.
terminated, which led to bankruptcy, and the rest of the roster was bought by UFC. The connection with Yakuza for money laundering easily explained the freak fights like Fedor Emelianenko against the 8 feet tall Asian guy, Zuluzinho against this poor guy, and dozens of weird matchups between pro wrestlers.
Why does that guy have a head guard on and the other one doesn't? That's really strange.
0-0 record against Crow Cop
He
Pride
missed.
stars. By the way, this masked guy is.
Oh, it's not a head guard, it's a mask.
champion
My
Alberto
bad.
Del Rio. Fake fights and the lack of steroids testing gave viewers an incredible show, so years later the creators of Pride decided to try again. This is how Raisin was born. In fact, everything is the same, only the name is different. But due to reputation problems, now the stars were not so willing to go there.
Yeah.
However,
Makes
if you're
sense.
already retired and just want to have fun for the money, Raisin is the perfect place for you. If you have questions, you can go to my personal Instagram.
I don't care about your
Floyd
Instagram.
Technique arguably is the best kickboxer on the planet. But in the fight with Mayweather,
Floyd Mayweather is going to get knocked out by I don't know who you just said, but yeah.
he flew all
Either
over
Red
the
Eye. Me. That's literally me. What do you mean?
ring just from Floyd's touches. Just look at this. It's a selling of punches on a level of Prime Batista. Punches on a level
Wow.
of Prime Batista. After looking at this fight, you most likely
Oh, I
have
love
doubts about
wrestling,
the
man.
legitimacy of this bout. Let's think logically. Raisin's third of fights are fake, and there is plenty of evidence, even confessions from fighters. Floyd is a star. Only his appearance will fill the stadium, and paying him to pretend to fight is the perfect way to attract a new audience. Mayweather, despite his defensive fighting style, is also a showman, and at
Yeah,
exhibition
yeah.
fights he can make more of a show. As a result, only on YouTube this fight got almost 30 million. Even
Oh, wow.
McGregor's fight against Khabib did not get so much views. A couple of years later, Raisin pulled off this trick again, and again, huge views and excitement around the exhibition fight. As in the fight with Nasukawa, the physics in this fight were at maximum, so the poor guy jumped all over the ring. But here we stumble upon a strange coincidence. Physics are only crazy in Floyd's Yakuza fights. Of the official 4 exhibition fights, 2 ended with knockout, and it so happened that 2 of these fights took place in Japan. Apparently physics was normal in fights with Paul, event took place in USA, and Don Moore, event took place in Saudi Arabia. Because of this, in both fights, Mayweather worked economically and occasionally through fast combinations. If with Logan you can justify it with size, then Moore is the same size as Floyd. Why didn't he knock him out? Based on all of the above, we can conclude that Floyd's fight against Deji, which will be held in Saudi Arabia, belongs to the first type of fight. It will be an extraordinary exhibition fight, and the outcome of this fight will depend on Deji himself.
Yup, Deji the GOAT.
What Deji needs to do.
I'm gonna tell you what he needs to do. He needs to win. That's it. That's all I gotta say.
By the way, if you are a fighter or a YouTube boxer, write to us if you want us to analyze your technique or the
He hit himself.
If you are a fighter or a YouTube boxer, write to us if you want us to analyze your technique or the technique of your opponent.
The main thing that Deji
That's
should
KSI.
work on is cardio. In ordinary exhibition fights, Floyd fights extremely economically. He does not
Look at
risk
Logan.
investing
What?
in punches, as he's afraid of breaking his hand.
He don't know what he's
He
doing.
often broke them at his peak. Therefore, over time, he switched to a defensive style of fighting, so that as he got older, he will not take any risks. Whether Deji can survive to see the end of the fight depends only on him. If he manages to get tired, Mayweather will finish him in a safe manner.
Correct.
However, what if he comes to fight with good cardio?
He won't probably, but I hope he does.
It is known that Floyd does not particularly like to fight against southpaws, which the greatest is, so their front legs will constantly touch. Deji needs to constantly step behind Floyd's
My iPad died. RIP to your iPad.
create angles of attack and more comfortable work with the front hand. Since
On
he
my
will
phone
need to
now?
work with
Hey,
the front
phones
hand,
are better than
Deji
iPads
needs
anyways.
to not let Floyd remove lead hand. With these hand movements, Deji measures distance and creates or breaks the rhythm of attack.
That's a good move.
Mayweather, of course, knows this. Therefore, it is necessary to constantly mix jab, hook, uppercut. Floyd likes to use pull or dive under jab, so if Deji can competently mix jab with an uppercut, he will be able to catch Floyd on dives. And when he pulls away from jab, Deji will be able to throw a hook. However,
Okay.
do not forget that Floyd works extremely economically in exhibition fights.
Yes.
He mostly just uses high guard. You can't punch through it with a jab, but the uppercut will be able to reach the target, or at least hit the body. Body attacks will knock the wind out of old Floyd. A high block opens Mayweather's ribs. This was used by the boxer even at his peak, and now it's an even more profitable attack.
All right, Deji, let's go.
All that's described above is rather not a game plan for a knockout, but rather a set of tools to survive to the end of the fight, which in itself will be a victory for Deji. What's your prediction for the fight?
My prediction for the fight: Deji knocks out Floyd Mayweather in the 5th round. I'm just kidding, of course. I think it's going to go all the way to the end, and then there's no winner. But Deji will be seen as a winner because he literally just flopped Floyd Mayweather. But yeah.